Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. Now the floor is open. CCTV. On January 19th, a blast at a Chinese restaurant in Kabul, Afghanistan, killed and wounded Chinese nationals. Reports say that Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the attack, was the ministry's comment. On January 19th, a blast hit a Chinese restaurant in Kabul, Afghanistan, and killed and injured many. One Chinese national was killed and 5 were wounded. China expresses deep condolences over the lives lost and heartfelt sympathies to the injured. China has made an emergency representation with Afghanistan to ask for an all-out effort in treating and rescuing the injured, taking more effective measures to protect the safety and security of Chinese nationals, projects and institutions in Afghanistan, conducting thorough investigation into the attack and bring the perpetrators to justice. The Chinese embassy in Afghanistan has visited the injured in hospital. China strongly condemns and firmly opposes any form of terrorism and supports Afghanistan and regional countries in jointly fighting all forms of terrorism and violent activities. Given the security situation in Afghanistan, the ministry once again advises Chinese nationals not to travel there in the near future and asks Chinese nationals and companies already in Afghanistan to take extra precautions, step up security and depart high-risk regions as soon as possible. Next one, please. RIA Novosti. U.S. President Donald Trump announced the establishment of the Board of Peace for Gaza and invited leaders from other countries to get on board. What's China's stance on this? Has China received an invitation? China has received the invitation from the United States. Next one, please. China Arab TV. Days ago, when speaking to the press, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said that in recent years, the world has changed dramatically and that in recent months, Canada's relationship with China is more predictable. How does China view such statements? Does China believe that this would bring more opportunities to China-Canada relations? The sound and steady development of China-Canada relations is conducive to the interests of both countries as well as peace, stability, development and prosperity in the world. China's position on its relations with Canada has been consistent and clear. China stands ready to work with Canada to take a responsible attitude toward history, the people, and the world, advance the building of China-Canada new strategic partnership, and steer the relationship onto a sound, steady, and sustainable track so as to deliver more tangibly for the two peoples. Next one, please.
您好，新华社记者提问。
Xinhua News Agency. The Agreement on Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction (BBNJ) entered into force on January 17th. China and other 81 countries as well as the EU have become parties to the BBNJ. Can I have your comment? The permanent mission of China to the UN wrote in a letter to Guterres on January 16th that China has decided to present its candidature of the city of Xiamen to host the secretariat of the treaty. And the bid underscores Beijing's desire to have better and greater influence over global environmental governance. Can I have more details from you? As the Agreement on Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction enters into effect, the milestone international treaty under the UN framework opens a new chapter of global marine governance and marks the success of multilateralism. China is one of the first countries to sign the agreement and one of the first party states to the agreement. We welcome and congratulate the entry into force of the agreement. China upholds true multilateralism and supports the UN-centered international system. China attaches high importance to the conservation and sustainable use of the oceans. As a responsible major country, China is deeply involved in global marine governance and is willing and capable of making even greater contribution to the implementation. With the aim of realizing the purpose and objective of the agreement and safeguarding the overall interest of the world, China has decided to propose to host the secretariat in Xiamen and presented the decision to the UN Secretary-General on January 16th. Xiamen, known as the Garden on the Sea, is a beautiful and livable city that boasts time-honored history and openness and inclusiveness. The city's favorable environment for innovation and the booming blue economy are recognized worldwide and have made Xiamen an important hub in the world. The city's relentless effort for sustainable development dovetails with the purposes of the agreement. The city stands ready to provide the best working environment for the Secretariat and help better realize the purposes of the agreement. We're confident that this city is the most ideal host city for the Secretariat. China hopes to step up communication and cooperation with all parties, jointly support the full, accurate and effective implementation of the agreement, and make greater contribution to advancing global marine governance and upholding international maritime order. Next one, please.
发言人你好，日本广播协会提问。
NHK. President Trump has taken office for a year, during which his foreign policy moves have attracted great international attention, including his tough measures on Venezuela and recent threats to annex Greenland. How does China view Mr. Trump's foreign policy over the past year and its impact on the international situation? Additionally, regarding Mr. Trump's planned visit to China in April this year, has China made any consideration or arrangement? Could you share more details? In the past year, China-US relations, despite ups and downs, realize overall and dynamic stability. This serves the shared interests of the people in both countries and meets the common aspiration of the world. The development of bilateral relations in the past year demonstrates that China-US cooperation would benefit both sides and the confrontation would hurt both sides. The two countries should find the right way for the two major countries to get along with each other based on equality, mutual respect, and reciprocity. China stands ready to work with the US to promote the steady development of our relations, and we will firmly uphold sovereignty, security, and development interests. On your specific question, I don't have any information to offer now. Next one, please. 如道，中国是否会敦促叙利亚政府停止对叙库尔德平民的军事袭击？ China hopes that Syria will realize peace and stability as soon as possible. We hope all parties in Syria will facilitate the process of political settlement through dialogue and negotiation and find a way to rebuild the country that is in the interest of the Syrian people. Next one, please.
Hi, a question from Bloomberg.
据彭博社报道，中英安全官员建立机制以讨论网络安全问题。此前，两国进行了一系列的黑客指控，中方能否证实？同时，关于特朗普提出的和平委员会，中方是否收到了邀请？ On your first question, I'm not familiar with what you mentioned. On your second question, China has received the U.S. invitation. Next one, please.
Thank you, AFP.
法新社，中国是否会接受和平委员会的邀请呢？ I have just answered the relevant question, and I have no more information to add. Next one, please.
from BTI.
印报托关于美方的邀请，美方邀请了多国领导人，是否邀请了中方特别的领导人呢？ I have just answered the relevant question. China has received the U.S. invitation. Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any more questions? If not, then let's call it a day. Thank you.